friends, Aylin Hart here. So welcome back to my channel, and as promised, we're going to be talking about writing content today. So usually after I film videos, I do get emails and messages from fellow authors, and what I hear a lot is that they're having trouble starting their book or that they want to write a book and they haven't started it. And I also get a lot of questions about something that I talk a lot about. And I kind of feel like these two things go hand in hand. So what I'm talking about today is my junk writing process. I've heard this talked about a lot of ways. I've heard it called junk writing, garbage writing, vomit writing, which I refuse to say because it sounds so gross. But yeah, my garbage writing process. And what I think about when you're having trouble starting your novel, or you aren't starting your novel, you really want to, or even writer's block. I think a lot of it boils down to fears and insecurities about the words that you're putting out into the universe. And what garbage writing does is it actually gives you the freedom to write garbage. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the garbage writing process and kind of why I think you should garbage write. Okay, so stay tuned. Every writer that I know has at some point had this fear that what we're writing is not good enough. There's the fear that the words are going to be boring, that no one's going to connect to it, no one's going to like what you're writing. Many of us think that because we call ourselves writers, that the second our fingers touch a keyboard or our pen touches paper, that literary magic is just going to spill from our fingertips and, make the literary greats cry with joy because our words are so beautiful. And I'm sorry to tell you that is probably not what's going to happen. So the idea behind junk writing is that it allows you the freedom to make mistakes. It allows you the freedom to write creatively without worrying about what is going on your piece of paper. Now, I talk sometimes about first drafts and how first drafts are ugly, and that is because of the junk writing, garbage writing process. First drafts are not meant to go to a beta reader. First drafts are not meant to be, posting quotes on social media or screenshots of whatever it is you're writing. Your first draft should literally be what you are writing for yourself. The idea behind garbage writing is just to get the words on paper. We've all heard as writers, write now, edit later. And that is the mission of the first draft. That is the point of junk writing. Get that creative flow going and get words on paper. The whole idea behind junk writing is at this point, we are not worrying about creating a cohesive storyline. We are not worried about hitting the beats. We are not worried about that missing comma or bad grammar. And again, that should give you a sense of freedom. What I really challenge you to do is to sit down at your keyboard and just to practice some junk writing. Give yourself a subject and write without thinking. Turn off your inner editor, turn off your inner perfectionist, and write. I don't want you to go back and rewrite sentences. I don't want you to go back and fix your punctuation or grammar. I don't even want you to go back and fix your spelling. I just want you to sit and free flow think and put it onto a piece of paper. And this is the glorious, amazing part of what junk writing is. Once you learn to turn off that inner editor, once you learn to turn off that inner perfectionist and really put thoughts onto paper without worrying about what they sound like or how they're going to read. The beauty of this is that we know that this is our first draft and what we're putting onto paper is actual garbage, and that is okay. When you go back and to do your second draft, that's when you're going to go in and start patching things up. I actually do a 5-draft process, which sounds really crazy, but my first draft, I would never let anyone read. It's awful. It's so bad sometimes, but I've learned to stop worrying about beautiful prose. I've learned to stop worrying about punctuation and actions or exposition or anything like that. I don't worry about good dialogue. I don't worry about showing versus telling. I don't worry about my beats. If I have an idea for a conversation or a scene, I rush to my computer and I write it down, and then I force myself to not go back and edit that piece or reread that piece. I just move on. After I get to my second draft, that's when I can go in and read it and be like, okay, that doesn't make sense, or my timeline doesn't make sense, or I need something here to tie these two chapters together. So I really, really, really encourage you to embrace the ugly, the messy, the junk. I really encourage you to embrace learning to sit down and free flow write, and embracing the freedom that this gives you to get all those amazing, wonderful, creative thoughts out of your head and not worry about what it looks on paper right now. I can tell you that some of my stuff that I've written when I do my junk draft is probably some of the most ridiculous things you've ever seen in your life. But once I learned to embrace that process, what happens is actually magic, because you just let those thoughts come to you and your fingers are moving and you're just typing. And if you've wondered why people can sit down and write, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 words in a day, it's because we're free thinking and just writing. And then you can always go back and fix that stuff. So I hope that I kind of explained junk writing a little bit. It is kind of a weird thing to try and embrace. I did write a blog article about it, believe 2 years ago, so I will go ahead and link that down below. Also, I wanted to thank everybody for all the amazing comments on my last video and about the homesteading process and about what we're doing here. So I'm glad that you guys kind of want to see some of that content. I did go up into the woods and film some of it. Depending on how short this video is, I just might put a little montage on it. We're going to get some garden beds going this weekend, so that's really exciting. I'll probably film some of that. And I did start a homesteading blog. If anyone is interested in reading that or following along with my stories, then I'm also going to go ahead and link that down below. If you do have more questions about junk writing, again, always please feel free to email me or message me. I had a really great conversation with another author on Instagram not too long ago, and she's the reason that I decided to go ahead and make a junk writing process video. It's not even really a process, so that's why it's kind of a weird, I wish I could be like, oh, step 1 you do this, step 2 you do this. It really is putting junk and garbage on paper and fixing it later. I would start with maybe a paragraph or 2 and really get used to not fixing what you write immediately, not worrying about beautiful prose, not worrying about exposition, not worrying about showing versus telling or anything like that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next weekend. If you have not already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you do get to know when I post new videos, and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.